Long Beach's new library director, Tara Lannon Stanton. She heads up a wonderful team that cooperates with the League of Women Voters on all these forums. And we'd also like to thank Edie Calixtine, the library programmer. So here's our new library director.
Hello, everyone. It's so wonderful to have the candidates and the League of Women Voters and all of you here at the library tonight. One of the things that really struck me about Long Beach Public Library when I was interviewing and going through the process is it is truly a space for civic engagement in addition to education and entertainment. So it's absolutely wonderful to be here, and not to take away from the very important election that's coming up on November 5th, but Long Beach Public Library has been nominated as the best public library on Long Island. I'd like to take credit for that, but I've only been here 3 months. I'd really like us to win, though, and this is an election where you can vote early, vote often. Through December 15th, all you have to do is go online. I'll hand out some cards. You put in your email address, you select Long Beach Public Library, and you can do it every day through December 15th. All right, thank you so much, and I will turn it back to the league.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Nicholas, and I'm the co-president, along with Veronica Rose, of the Long Beach League. The League is a nonpartisan political organization that encourages active participation in government. We also work to influence public policy through education and advocacy. Membership is open to both men and women. We never support or oppose a political party or particular candidate. On November 19th, New York State League celebrates its 100th anniversary. Long Beach is one of the 60 leagues throughout the state that comprise the New York State League of Women Voters, all continuing to fight to make democracy work and addressing the many issues that we face. 30 years ago, when Long Beach League members, also known as the Water Ladies, fought for a moratorium to protect the Lloyd Aquifer, our sole source aquifer for Barrier Island. And that issue is still a critical one, and one that League continues to work on. If you have children and grandchildren, it's an issue that you should be concerned about. 20 years ago, when Long Beach was testifying at Senate and Assembly hearings, doing on-site monitoring at nursing facilities, and lobbying for changes, we were the driving force behind the amending of Election Law 8-407 to address the abuses of absentee ballots in our nursing homes. So the League is so much more than registering people to vote. We work on protecting natural resources, good government reforms, health care, civic education, youth programs, women's issues, government financing, voting rights, legislative reform, etc., etc., etc. And tonight, we're pleased to give you a candidates forum. And it's a double header this evening. First, the 2 candidates for Nassau County Legislature, and then the 6 candidates for the City Council. So please turn off or silence your cell phones. There's no videotaping permitted. The form is being videotaped and will be posted in its entirety. We want to say thank you to some people before we start so we don't forget. The Long Beach Library again for co-sponsoring. Eileen and Marty Lilly, their vice presidents and voter service people who do an incredible job. Just the Facts Media, who's videotaping this evening. You can find them. It'll be posted on Facebook. There'll be a link on our page. Our moderator will be Judy Jacobson from Port Washington League, who just arrived. And our timekeeper is Nancy Rosenthal, and Nancy is also the president of the County League. All these folks have volunteered their evening and their efforts to help us tonight. Please write your questions on index cards. Put on the top of the card whether it's for the City Council candidate or a County Legislator candidate. You'll see Phyllis Wagner walking. Phyllis, wave your hands. She'll collect your cards. Jacqueline Feldman right here in the pink and black. Veronica Rose. Sandy Stackey's in the back. Thank you to these league members for helping us tonight. So we're going to ask you that you hold your applause till the very end of the forum. because we have limited time and several candidates and want to get in as many questions as possible. Our moderator and timekeeper don't vote in this election. As soon as Judy gets her coat off, we're going to start this evening. There are going to be questions given to the candidates. The same question each candidate responds to. So your questions are about issues. They're not about personal things. They're not specifically addressed to one candidate. It's a question about an issue so that when you go to the polls, you can vote for the candidate that best is aligned with what you want to see happen about these issues. Judy?
Thank you. Welcome. It's good to see such a great turnout. Long Beach always has a lot of interested citizens. I'm going to start by reading the rules for the evening so that we're all on the same page, and then we'll take the questions. Rule 1, the moderator will be a member of the League of Women Voters who lives outside the city of Long Beach and outside Nassau County Legislative District Number 4. I am from Manhasset, so I have no stake in this election. All right, we already drew lots to determine who speaks when. Index cards on which to write questions will be distributed by volunteers from the League of Women Voters. Cards will be collected by these volunteers and vetted by League members to assure that they are legible and not repetitive or abusive. We have, on both sides, we have people with cards. As you were just told, questions must be confined to the issues in the campaign. The questioners should make sure that their questions require 1 minute or less to read. Each candidate will be allowed 1.5 minutes for an opening statement. After each candidate has spoken, the moderator will read questions from the cards. Each candidate will be given 1.5 minutes to answer a question. A League member will act as timekeeper, that's Nancy Rosenthal, and she will hold up a sign indicating when 30 seconds remain and when time is up. When time is up, the speaker will be allowed to finish the sentence. Candidates have 1.5 minutes for a closing statement and will speak in reverse order from the opening statement. Since the purpose of the meeting is to determine the candidates' views, we don't have to worry about it. There are no substitute speakers here. The use of props, charts, or visuals is forbidden, and the distribution of campaign literature is prohibited. And this forum will be videotaped. We only use the one videographer, thank you. Candidates, their staff, and guests are not permitted to record the forum in audio and or video. This message is taken to ensure that information is not manipulated to create false or misleading impressions, or that it's not otherwise edited for campaign purposes. Okay, we're going to proceed. And Denise, you may give your opening statement.
Good evening, and I want to thank the League of Women Voters for once again hosting this forum. And I want to say hello to my opponent and to all of you as well. I've lived in the West End for almost 40 years now. I came as a single mother and settled there and eventually married my second husband, where we had 2 children. My children were all educated here in the city of Long Beach schools, and eventually some of them went to Kellenberg. My daughter now is a school teacher in the Long Beach Middle School. My son Harry, who also worked in the rec and is now a New York City firefighter. And my son Gerard, who a lot of people didn't realize I had a second son, very quiet. But he has married and moved to Malvern, and he's now a New York City police officer. This city provided a good growing environment for my children, and they really did well. And this is why I love the city. We are a close-knit community, despite our population of being over 37,000. I love it here, and that is why I work so hard for all of you. I can stop and chat with anyone and feel as if we grew up together. The city has changed, but not our heart and soul. I have served in the office of Nassau County Legislator for 16 years, and despite all this time, I find this job to be just as interesting, exciting, and challenging as when I first took office. Constituent services is my #1 priority, and I'm proud to introduce you to my assistants, Patty and Nadine, and I do have an intern, Kayla.
Thank you.
We work in a variety of... Oh, okay, great, sorry.
Excellent. Well, thank you for being respectful of the time.
Sorry.
It's okay, it happens all the time. Okay, Jeffrey Saxon.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I want to thank you for having me. Hi, Denise. Thank you for being here. And I really want to thank you all for coming. It's been a pleasure this whole time campaigning, getting to meet everybody at doorsteps and hear everybody's thoughts. This is my first time running. I'm not a politician, and I really am looking to just, I ran to try to help others roll out, make some change to our community. I have 2 young kids. They're 3, and my son just turned 1 year old about a week or 2 ago. And I'm running because I really think that we need some changes. I see what's been happening in Nassau over the last few years. For a long time, actually, it's been headed in not the greatest direction, and I think we need some change. I mean, first and foremost, we pay so much in taxes, and we get less and less back for it. And I think that's a lot of that's because the people who are representing us have not been representing our interests that well. So I think we need some change, we need some new ideas, and I think we need to head into a new direction. First thing we need to do is get our county in order. We need to make some improvements in our community, and we need to think about the future. One of the main reasons my motivations to run was thinking about my kids and where our community will be when they're my age. And I think Nassau needs a lot of improvements. It's tough for even me and my wife, who are 2 attorneys, we can barely afford it here. So I think we need to think about how to make our community more affordable and better for our future. So I think that's some of the new plans and new thinking that we need going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, this will be the first question, and Mr. Saxon, you will answer first. Why do you believe you are most qualified to represent us at the county legislature?
Well, as I was just saying, I think we need a sort of a culture change in Nassau County government. For too long, going back probably even before I was born, it's become a way of doing business that a lot of our elected officials are in it for themselves, and that does not mean everybody, but there are certain officials we've seen in the papers in the last 3 years which are prime examples of that. And I think that for too long we've accepted that there's just a certain amount of corruption and grift that comes with being in Nassau County government. We need that to change. I work for, my job is I work for the New York City Department of Correction. I work in their legal division. And I've been part of trying to reform a large government organization from within. That's been what I've been doing for the last several years. And I think I've gotten, based on that, I've gotten a real experience in how to reform a government agency, how to bring about change that does not come about easily. It can be really tough when you bring about from leadership down to people on the bottom level, everyday employees, to bring about a new way of thinking. And I think that this will include, we need new ethics reform laws. But more importantly, we need enforcement of those laws. Passing a law, that's great, but that doesn't actually accomplish anything. I want to partner with law enforcement. I want to work with DA Singas and really make sure that our tax dollars go to help us and no one else. That's why we pay taxes, and that's where they should be going. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Ford.
Nassau County is ever-changing, and I have found for the 16 years, despite whatever the issue is, I rose up to the challenge to face that issue. Whether or not it's to do with the environment, assessment, even in the issues of corruption. I feel that we cannot look and hide ourselves in the sand. We have to face whatever is put before us, work to change it, and make sure those changes are effective. You know, when we had, everybody talks about Mangano. When he was indicted, I immediately got up and stood up and answered his resignation because I felt that he betrayed the trust of the people. And I feel that that's where it hurts. I think that we have to have our own personal integrity, that we have to be able to know that whatever issue we go after, and even like when we fight for something, we don't hide behind false names and fake Facebook pages. Whatever I do, you know exactly what I'm doing. I am honest, I am open, I am available to each and every single one of you, and I am not afraid to be able to take up the charge, because I know in government a lot of times there's fear and intimidation. People are afraid to say something. They can talk to me, and I say, I will own that issue for you to make sure that we can get it resolved so that you don't have to be in fear of somebody coming after you. I feel that I have shown great leadership, great integrity, and great conviction to each and every single one of you, and that's why I feel that I deserve another term.
Thank you. Second question. Nassau County is planning to have Bay Park, Long Beach, and other sewage treatment plants connect to its Cedar Creek plant, which will then discharge over 125 million gallons of wastewater effluent to the Atlantic Ocean every day. If elected, what specific measures will you take to assure the entire Barrier Island and its beachgoers are protected from the excessive amounts of contaminants? And this time, Ms. Ford, you're first.
I've been working on the Bay Park sewage treatment outflow pipe for probably about 12 to 15 years, I think ever since I came into office. Because we know that when we had the Back Bay study, the Western Bay study done by the USGS and the DEC, we realized how bad Reynolds Channel is. The effluent wasn't always leaving, fish life or marine life, doesn't exist there. So we looked for different different solutions, and in order to upgrade the sewage treatment plant to, like, say, where it could be on its own and treat the effluents, it would probably cost well over $1 billion. Working with the governor's office, they came up with a solution where they found an old aqueduct underneath Sunrise Highway. So we found that as a cost-effective approach to be able to take the effluents. The effluents will not go into the Cedar Creek sewage treatment plant. It will go into the Cedar Creek outflow pipe. That pipe is monitored by the EPA. They make sure in the way that they're designing it so that it's sort of dispersed. I don't know exactly all the words. But just to let you know that we also invested almost $1 billion worth of upgrades into the Bay Park sewage treatment plant. So that effluent is much, much better quality, and we are continuing to invest money in there to remove the nitrogen and to make it as clean as possible so that we're not taking a bad problem here and just sending it down through a pipe, and that bad problem then goes out into our waters. I am very aware of what it can affect our marine life, but I'm telling you right now, once this is done and there's no more effluents coming into Reynolds Channel, you're going to see much better quality water.
Thank you. Mr. Saxon.
I think I need to review all studies to make sure that that is accurate information. For too many times you hear, oh, nothing will happen, don't worry, and then all of a sudden our natural resources, we find out later, are flooded with contaminants and things. Flint, Michigan being the easiest example. We need to do a study to make sure that nothing will leak into anything that we can drink, anything that we might bathe in, or anything that might come into contact with any of our natural resources. The protection of our natural resources is amongst the most important things that we can do in our community. It's our drinking water, which we've all experienced within the past year, can be easily polluted. So we need to make sure that all of our natural resources are protected. If there is any indication that any of this may end up leaking into our water and into the bay, then it needs to be prevented, because that is, once that happens, there's no turning back. So I need to look into this more to find out if that has been fully studied and if that's possible.
Thank you. How would you like to see communication between the City of Long Beach and Nassau County improved? And Mr. Saxon, you're first on this one.
Improving communication and shared efforts between the different municipalities in Nassau County is a really important issue. This is also a way we can save a lot of money. The communication, procurement, shared services are ways that different municipalities in our county can really work to save all of our taxpayer money. There's so many different districts in our county that I can't even keep track of, whether it be water districts, sanitation districts, different levels of municipalities, and each one of them has different staff, different elections, different outside counsel that all cost us way too much money. We need to make sure that the county works with the towns and all the local municipalities to be the most efficient that they can be. And share procurement, I think, is a way that we can save a lot of money in terms of if we all have to buy loose leaf paper, if we all have to buy pens and pencils. If you buy them in bulk, that's going to save us a lot of money. So any type of equipment that you need to buy for the city, the towns, and the counties, if you group that together and share procurements, I think that will save us a lot of money. In terms of consolidation of services, the same concept. We can look into grouping all services together and really make the county and the municipalities work together and take this home.
Thank you, Ms. Ford.
Well, to start, this election is going to help change the communications between the city and the county because we're going to have a new city government. And I have to say, in all these years, ever since 2012, working with the previous administration was nothing but very stressful. Didn't want to cooperate, and even when we lost funding for the community development block grant money, I worked with the city manager trying to get him to work with us so we could restore that funding. Unfortunately, he wasn't interested. But that doesn't stop it. I believe that we need to make sure that we work together. As you can tell, when we have Big Buxton Street plant, now Long Beach is going to be converted to a pumping station. The county worked very closely with the city government in regards to working that out, making sure that the cost wasn't too oppressive to the residents here in the city of Long Beach, funding for the outflow pipe that's going to go from the pumping station up to Bay Park. I think that we always have to keep our lines of communication open. I think that we have to always together work for opportunities that we can join, do whatever we can to offset the cost to taxpayers and whatever service it is.
Thank you. This will be the last question for the two of them, and then we'll move on. The county home reassessments have caused many homeowners' taxes to increase. Combined with reassessments from home lifts after Superstorm Sandy, living here has become financially difficult, especially for retirees. Please tell us what specific actions you would take to hold the line on taxes. And Ms. Ford, you're first.
The assessment has been nothing short of a problem for so many of us, and we know that the assessment values were frozen for a long time, and most of it because of Sandy, which 7 years ago today that it happened. Because how can we actually assess properties when people aren't living in, the houses were damaged? But moving forward, we knew that when Laura Curran took office, we knew that we had to do the reassessment all throughout Nassau County. We worked with her, we gave the funding so she could hire this company to be able to get all the values brought up. I think probably the biggest issue I have in regard to all of this is that I felt that the new assessor should have been more open with all of us. He should have joined us in community forums so we can explain to all of you what it meant when we were changing the assessed values and market values, and they changed the level of assessment and what impact that it's going to have, so that you also know what type of taxes, what you're looking for. County taxes only actually make up like maybe between 13 to 15, maybe 16% of your full tax bill. But what we need to do is we just passed our budget the other night, last night, come to think of it, I'm sorry, with no tax increase, but with maintaining pretty much the same level of services. These are things that we need to do, and we're looking also for all of us with taxes. We need to take a look at development to make sure that we bring a lot more businesses here, because if we can't get property value, taxes from properties, we need to make sure that we increase our sales tax revenue and look for other opportunities and other grants, and that's a way of holding the line on taxes and helping to keep all of you to stay here.
Thank you. Mr. Saxon.
Yes. So what's happened with the assessment system is it's been terrible. Ed Mangano got elected in 2009 on fixing this problem, and instead he froze the rolls. It wasn't because of Sandy. He froze the rolls. The rolls were frozen actually before Sandy. What happened was he froze the rolls, and him and several Republicans were taking donations from these law firms We all know these firms. These are the same firms that were taking all our grievances and taking half of our tax refunds the last 10 years or so. So now Laura Curran gets elected and tries to fix the system, and she's been blocked by attempted to be blocked by the Republican majority trying to pass the Assessment Bill of Rights. One of the caveats of the Assessment Bill of Rights is that the assessor has to be from Nassau County. I don't know what difference that makes. If he's qualified, he's qualified. It seems like they're just trying to throw up roadblocks while they kick the can down the road for about 10 years. But we have to, now that we're trying to fix the problem, we need the 5-year phase to make sure people don't get hit quickly, but we need to, from here on out, we need to think about saving money. Once Laura Curran got elected, the deficit went from $122 million a year to 27. That was just fact coming out of the system, and there's more to that. We can save more people money. We have to look up to other things to save people money. Like I mentioned before, we need to cut corruption out of the budget. We need to look to grow the tax base, which I think we need more housing, keep young people on Long Island, because a lot of young people are leaving Long Island, which is will increase our tax base. So we need to make sure, look proactive steps that will fix this problem long term.
Thank you. Thank you both. It's now time for your closing statements. And we're going to go in reverse order. So, Mr. Saxon, I think you're first. Yes, you are.
Yes, so thank you all for your questions. It's been it's definitely an experience getting up here. I'm really, like I mentioned before, this is an exciting opportunity that I really think we need to make some changes. I really think we need to think about the future of Nassau County. A couple of important things that I like to discuss are, one, I just mentioned affordable housing. Nassau County lacks a certain type of housing that is available for young adults who are now leaving Long Island. We need to look into, the Hub is a great plan. I know they're building, we're doing some good stuff by the Belmont Arena. We need some more affordable housing built that young adults can move into around transit areas like Rockville Center, like Huntington, those type of areas where people can walk to a train, get to work in the city, come back and have retail options available, have dining options available. That will not only keep young adults on Long Island, but also grow the tax base. We also need to think one of the most important challenges facing us is climate change. And there's been no work on, the federal government is taking us in the wrong direction. Now we all know what happened 7 years ago today, and hopefully that problem does not get worse, but we have, only if we work to make sure that it doesn't get worse. I think we need to take proactive steps and show leadership in Nassau County on climate change. We need to have solar panels in every building that we can. We need to look into wind farms, and we need to look into battery-operated, into battery power to conserve all this energy. So I think we need to take proactive steps for the future and to really make Nassau County viable in the long term. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Once again, thank you very much to the League of Women Voters. And, you know, I have to say that I do agree in part with some of the things that Jeff has said. But I also, like, as I've been in office, you know, when we talk about the environment, you know, I had fought against the drilling of wells in the White Aquifer, and I'm still fighting even now to make sure that we protect our water supply so that it doesn't become a very burdensome resource when we have to pay to clean the water even more so. But I look at even with our development, we need to have smart development. You know, we need to make sure that what we bring in here is something that will benefit our communities, whether or not it's here on the Long Beach, on the Barrier Island, or even throughout Nassau County. We have to take a look at, you know, just different things. I mean, when we look at the loss of our hospitals, and there's nothing here to replace that, which when we lost 1,200 jobs, these are things that we have to take a look. We have to say to ourselves, what are we doing to better the future, to better this city? And we have to see where are we investing so that we can make sure that we can bring in jobs and retain families and bring in our young people. I believe in a downtown development. I believe in streetscapes. I believe in investing in the communities in whatever way that we can. And I also believe that whatever the issue is, that we must fight, we must work toward it, and we have to make sure that whatever we do, we always do it to the benefit of you. It's not about us, but it's about you, each and every single one of you. And for me, I've been invested here for almost 40 years. My children have been here, my grandchildren, I have a lot of friends and family, and I want you to know that whatever it is, I'm here for each and every single one of you. Thank you.
have the candidates for Long Beach City Council come up.